Alright, what is going on, guys? Before we go into the whole video about God of War and everything, quick disclaimer, I recorded this right before we got clearance to use footage of the new God of War footage, so you will see on this video that there will be the new showcase, some of the leaked stuff that was over this weekend and everything that I talked about in the video, but I was able to use the God of War gameplay that we are getting today, as many other media outlets are doing it as well. So I got the okay to do it, so hopefully we still don't get copyright in that, terms and everything, but as far as I'm aware of, we're in the clear to put up that new gameplay. So I'll be showing it here in this video, so just ignore me in the beginning talking about how, oh, I'm scared about getting copyright, this, that, and the third. I'm not going to show gameplay, whatever. I will be showing gameplay here in this video, so just a little heads up there. On to the intro. What is going on, followers? It is your boy TKD123 aka Kevin here, and today we have a little juicy leak that came out this weekend. Now, of course, due to the nature of YouTube and copyright and all that good stuff, I will of course not be showing this leaked gameplay of, yes, you read the title right, we have God of War leaked gameplay. Now, of course, I can't be showing this on screen because, I want to protect the good old channel that is PSF from any copyright infringements and all that good stuff. And obviously, I know the good guys at Sony Santa Monica have been working hard on this game, so obviously I don't want to spoil it in that type of manner to those that are trying to steer clear of the gameplay and, just go into the game blindfolded, all that good stuff. However, we will be talking about these stuff and what I was able to gather here from the gameplay leaked footage. And if you're looking for a link in the description, there will not be. Of course, I'm trying to, again, make sure we get no copyrights here on this video. I am freely to discuss what I've seen, but I can't show and everything. However, Google is your friend at that point. And for me personally, I did find it on Twitter, and I believe it's still up on the PSF Twitter. Go check out that Twitter and everything, where you can view the leaked gameplay in its entirety. I believe I still have it posted on PlaystationFollower's Twitter. Now back to the gameplay at hand. So what were some of the new things that we were garnered from this leaked gameplay? Now for me personally, I see a lot of things here, and I definitely made a list as well that I'll be reading off bullet by bullet. Now the first one here, hold up on the D-pad to show journal. Now this was shown early on in the 2.5-minute leaked gameplay and everything, so that pretty much confirms that there will be a journal type of thing in the actual God of War game when we get it in April. I'm not sure what the journal will contain. I'm assuming maybe missions or different things or aspects of the game, maybe a deeper lore in that journal. There will be a journal in God of War. Now going on, we also have in the bottom left circle, it shows your current weapon that you have equipped. So a lot of the times here on this, we have the axe being equipped, and I think that the axe will be kind of, Kratos' main form of weapon going into the game and everything. So you definitely do have that current equipped weapon in the bottom left in a circle. Along that, you also have this button that comes up when you throw the axe. I didn't really garner where or how you actually throw the axe. I'm sure that's just maybe like R2 or something like that, or whatever they want to put it to, but you can't throw your axe that we've seen in gameplay beforehand and trailers and everything. But what's different here is that when the axe is thrown and when it's not in your hands, you have a triangle button that gets put right above the axe in the bottom left corner of like what I discussed beforehand. So I believe when you press triangle while the axe is in air, it'll summon itself all the way back to you. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I'm not really confirming that. I'm just looking at the gameplay and kind of garnering what I think about it. And of course, if you guys have seen the gameplay, make sure to let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. And maybe I get something wrong here in the breakdown, make sure to let me know down in those comments below. But going on here, there is sprinting and dodging in the game, because you can see how like throughout the gameplay he has a normal speed movement, and then he also has a sprint, which you can see in the earlier half of the gameplay when he sprints at a enemy, and then said enemy shoot the projectile and he does a little barrel roll to the left. So definitely there we have dodging in the game as well. And also one more thing that I feel like a lot of people are going to be overlooking here in this actual lead gameplay is that, in that circle where the axe is shown equipped and everything, in the other corners of that circle right next to it to the left, there are different spaces that are blank and they're blacked out, but it looks like there should be something there. So I'm thinking those might be for other weapons you can equip on the fly, maybe materials, etc., similar to Horizon Zero Dawn's layout, how in the bottom left hand corner you had your health you could use or your potions and everything. All that was in the bottom left corner. I believe the same will be happening here in God of War. And also going on to that same exact corner, we have a green bar that I'm assuming is the health, obviously, and then the bottom one was a yellow reddish bar which kept filling up throughout the gameplay. We never saw it full because it just cut off right before it got full, but it was filling throughout the entire gameplay. So is this going to be Spartan Rage here in this thing? I believe that yellow bar is going to do some sort of a Spartan Rage, that we have in the previous God of War games. I'm assuming that's what that yellow bar on the bottom is for. Also, one thing to note here is that the shield took up seemingly no inventory slots, at least on the UI perspective. So I'm not seeing a shield anywhere. You know, there's an axe obviously, so that axe is definitely taking up some sort of slot in your UI, but the shield is not. So I'm thinking here that probably the shield is just going to have its own dedicated button on the controller, and you'll just be able to pull up your shield whenever you want to, with that being a more staple you know, type of thing in your inventory. And then they go on to show the threat indicator, this being somewhat of a new thing in the God of War series and everything. It's a multicolored arrow that appears right behind Kratos, and it shows incoming threats. So there's a whole breakdown that they also went to in the actual gameplay that, you know, just clearly defines what the arrow, you know, depicts and what it means. So a gold arrow means that there are nearby enemies, a flashing red arrow means that there is an incoming attack, and a flashing purple means that there's going to be an incoming projectile in your way. So that is pretty much set in stone. I feel like right there, that's going to be, you know, it's going to be somewhat of a way for us to better have an overall awareness with the camera angle, obviously zoomed in, and change from other God of Wars where they would be somewhat, you know, top down in a way, not really top down, but somewhat in a more zoomed out fashion, the old God of Wars. Now this one is going to be obviously more zoomed in and over the shoulder, so, you know, to kind of alleviate that, where we would see enemies back in previous God of War games, we won't see in this one due to that camera view. So I feel that this threat indicator is going to help alleviate those issues that we'll have in the actual game. Another detail here is that there was a frost charge. Now this happened twice in the gameplay from what I've seen. So there were some times where he would, you know, hit an enemy by throwing his axe or hitting him just straight up, and it was most times while he was throwing the axe, by the way, but, you know, he would garner a frost charge onto the actual axe, right? And so one time it was a 2.3 increase, the other time it was like a 0. something increase, and then there was a time later on in the gameplay that I'll talk about. Actually right now I can just melt it in, whatever. You know, he used a thing that I like to call, I guess in this game, whatever, axe freeze, and it's where he threw the axe at the enemy and the enemy froze in ice. I don't know if this was triggered by a button, you know, that he had while the axe was in midair. I'm thinking that's what it was, but, you know, he did garner this frost charge. So I'm assuming here, I'm thinking that maybe frost charge is going to be somewhat of a axe specific element thing, and maybe you'll be able to get more elements throughout the game. But you know, with this frost charge, it's obviously here that, you know, he definitely did increase the frost charge over time by hitting and killing enemies, and then he was able to use it on one specific enemy, and the enemy was frozen. And I'll tell you, this enemy was frozen for, you know, a good maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds at that. You know, it was a pretty you know, substantial time, and during, you know, the time where this enemy was frozen, Kratos was able to go behind the enemy and kick the ice block that, you know, housed this enemy forward a little bit, and then the enemy didn't unfreeze until he summoned his axe again. So I'm thinking that maybe the enemy will be frozen until Kratos, you know, just gets his axe back and he summons it back, or something along those lines, or maybe it was a time thing. I'm not really sure, but the enemy was frozen for a good amount of time there, so there's a possibility that it could be controlled by you, how long the enemy is frozen, or it's just a time thing that happens over a few seconds. The axe automatically gets summoned back to you and the enemy unfreezes. And just like Ellie in The Last of Us, Atreus, your son, also helps out in combat. Minimal, but still, man, he does some work. Like, there was some times in his gameplay where he dead ass went on top of an enemy and was choking him from behind. Like, you know, low key, he be putting in work. Like, he's a little savage on the real. But he was also firing arrows at enemies, and this brings us to a big thing. It is the bottom right hand corner. Now in this corner, you will see throughout the gameplay if you watch it, but, you know, if you're just hearing me, in the bottom right hand corner, the opposite side of the bottom left hand corner, we have a little arrow logo in the circle the same way as Kratos has his axe on the other side, and there was a counter next to those arrows. So obviously when we would hear Atreus shoot a arrow, that counter went down, obviously, so that definitely shows how many arrows Atreus has at his disposal. And also right next to that circle, there was a blank diamond type of, you know, shape that could be obviously used for inventory purposes for Atreus. Maybe you can, you know, hook up like some sort of cool weapon on him instead of you if you don't have any more slots, and that way he can use that weapon that you find in the world. That was just me off the top of my head thinking about what that extra slot could be. I'm not sure, but there is an extra slot, you know, missing in Atreus's corner of the UI. Obviously here, QTEs are in the game by pressing R3 when the enemy health is low. That is nothing new here, but there was also something different here about this. So at least from my point of view, when I was looking at this gameplay, I could be completely wrong here, guys, but, you know, I think that these enemies, when they start to get low health, they show the same red orbs that were in previous God of War games. Obviously, those were found in different chests and stuff like that, and you could, you use these red orbs to fill up certain bars in your UI and stuff like that in past God of War games. But I think those enemies, when they get to a lower health, they have those same red orbs. I'm not 100%, guys. I'm not really sure on this, but that's what I'm seeing in this gameplay right now in front of me, and that's what I was seeing when I was doing my full, breakdown analysis a few minutes ago. I'm definitely feeling like there may be some red orbs that are, being summoned when they get low health and stuff like that. I definitely feel like I'm seeing red orbs. I could be crazy, I could be wrong here, but I'm definitely, think I'm seeing red orbs here. But also moving on, there is also a chain throw with the axe that's seen in this gameplay as well. So it looks like, when Kratos was aiming in the axe and not throwing it, but almost gonna throw it, he was laying down these white orbs and these white dots on enemies' feet. And so when the axe was finally thrown, the axe went through those dots and hit multiple targets. So I'm assuming that that would be a chain throw with the axe that you can use as well. He also did a ground pound with the axe, which was pretty lit. And also at the very end of the actual Leeds gameplay, he acquired some XP for all that he did in the gameplay. So that definitely shows that there will be a level of progression in this game with Kratos and everything. And so you will be able to definitely rank up some sort of aspect of Kratos. And that was all I was able to garner and find in the Leeds gameplay. Of course, there's probably a ton of stuff I missed. That is your job to go to Twitter, go to Google, wherever you gotta find this Leeds gameplay. Definitely watch it. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments below. Are you enjoying the gameplay? Are you liking it? Are you hating it? I was seeing some people on Twitter having some mixed opinions. Obviously, this is a very much of a different feel of God of War than we've had in the past. So make sure to let me know down in those comments below how you feel about the Leeds gameplay overall. And make sure also, while you're down there, to check out our description where you can find our Instagram, Twitter, and all that good stuff. And make sure to also keep it locked here on the channel and subscribe for all the latest in PlayStation. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to leave a like on the video. Thank you all for watching, and as always, keep on following.